very much, James.
Thanks everybody, thanks Ivan, that's a fantastic compliment and endorsement, I really appreciate it. So just to give you guys an indication of what's going to happen next, because some of you might be worried that you're going to stand here forever, rightly so. I'm just going to quickly say one last thing about the novel myself, and then we'll proceed to book signing, and hopefully enough of you will hang around to have a few drinks afterwards, and just look forward to chatting with each of you and discussing everything, the book and other things. I'll just quickly talk to the book. So what I'd like to talk about is this idea of infotainment, we can call it, right? So it's a combination of information and entertainment. You're reading, you're having fun, you're watching some TV series, it's historical, you're having fun, and you're learning at the same time. So back in the day, when I started on this book about, it must be 11 years ago now, I had this sort of, not crisis, but a decision to make. As I mentioned before, there were a lot of fantasy novelists that I really liked, like Eddings and Tolkien, etc. And I was always sure in my life I was going to end up writing a fantasy novel. But then I thought, why am I going to be rehashing this Dark Lord against the rest of the world sort of story and trying to wrap my brains about how to come up with names like Joffrey and Jeremy, like George Martin does, which is fair enough, and I love his work, by the way, but I go, why don't I find another setting? Because that's been done to death, And I received this book when I was living in Belgium at the time, called Romegas, about the maverick, arguably, Knight of Malta by Carmel Testa, book in English, which was sent to me as a present by my uncle Klaus, as we all know, subject writer and bookworm, sent me this book, and I'm reading this book about Romegas and the Knights of Malta, which were sort of, in a way, a mini European Union of sorts, with all the different countries they come from, etc., and all the shenanigans going on between the French Knights and the Spanish Knights, when they're meant to be one order, etc. And I was just curious, from Malta about the siege, just grew to what was happening in Spain, what's happening in Turkey. What's this? Spain is a superpower, Turkey is a superpower, how does that work? I mean, think about it today, So I just thought this is almost, I love these stories like The Last Valley by J.B. Pick and other stories, which are historical, but they almost become fantastic so different from what we're used to today. So I said, look, it has to be the 1500s. I have to write something about the 1500s. This is just fantastic. And I was reading everything I could get my hands on in fiction and non-fiction. And the point is, why the 1500s? So a lot of you have heard about Salman Rushdie, and he wrote his first historical fiction novel. It was set in the 1500s, and he was asked, why the 1500s? And he said, look, it's just such an exciting period, It's probably the century in human history where man experienced the greatest amount of change, like in everything, 20th century was heaps of change. It was technological, maybe social changes, but in 1500s, absolutely everything was changing. The 1500s hadn't even started when there was already a massive radical shift in thinking because Columbus discovered America, because before he did, people thought if you sailed a bit far away from the coast, this was the perceived wisdom at the time, you'd meet these sea monsters that would eat your boat and eat you, and if you got past those sea monsters, which you couldn't because they'd eat you and your boat, you'd fall off the edge of the world. And that was the perceived knowledge at the time which everyone accepted willy-nilly. Plus, we also then had the invention of the printing press, which was a big change, of course, because it wasn't just relying on one little monk writing in an abbey and then a few people later reading it. This was just setting ideas left, right, and centre. So the 1500s haven't even started yet, and we have these two major radical developments. 1500 starts. Where do we begin? Reformation, Martin Luther has his thesis to the career of Wittenberg. Sorry, pardon, but this is the truth. Just completely cracks the framework of Catholic Europe. And you also have books, the best-selling book of the time, probably the best-selling book of all time. I don't know, everyone knows what I'm referring to here, the Bible, being translated in different vernacular languages. We have the Renaissance, where we had the classics who were being rediscovered and more focus on man. We had the 1500s, the 16th century is called Le Grand Siècle of the French, right? But it's also the Great Century. And there's my old French teacher, they're nodding ahead. But it was also called the Iron Century, right? Because there was a lot of weapons development, proliferation of firearms, which were starting to be used on a wide scale. So where before you were a commoner waiting for a knight to lop your head off, now you had a gun, just shoot him off the spot. It's fantastic, right? So these things were great levelers, a lot of changes going on. I haven't even started talking about navigation and exploration. The Portuguese would just keep going further and further and further east. they ran out of food and water, they just ate sawdust and weevils, they just kept going. Now we're finding their artifacts on the northern coast of Australia. So this is a century that impacted everyone in different ways. We can go on forever talking about it. I won't bore you. I needed a period from this century, some events that what I wanted was obviously a personal story about Santiago, a man who's going to be increasingly in conflict with his own heart because he's hiding something. But I also wanted a story about different cultures clashing, right? So we love those sort of stories, the sword and the scimitar, you know, different cultures clashing, everyone loves that, still a bestseller. Even modern variations of that, like Avatar, you know, it's my sister's favorite movie, you know, these aliens being exploited by this capitalist human machine, Dances with Wolves. You know, I'm reading the sequel at the moment, it was brought a book, so I needed something that brought these cultures clashing, and I actually found something that had not just two cultures clashing, but three. I thought, phenomenal, right? So Spanish Armada landings in Ireland, as we all know, was the event that I chose to write about. Because, like I said, you've got three cultures. So we've got counter-reformist Spain, we have reformist England, and we have late medieval Ireland. Just blew my mind. I'll just speak to it shortly, and that should be it, promise. So with counter-reformist Spain, imagine Spain again being the world power at that time. We grew up in Malta. I grew up in Malta reading very Anglo-centric narratives, being told Northern Europe is the bar, you know, by which we have to measure ourselves. Southern Europe, we're never that good, you know, we have to try and get there. And I thought, what if Southern Europeans